The human brain will decide where the Premier League title ends up this season. I think we can already see where it's likely to be going. And I'm going to tell you right now the fascinating reason behind this and the lessons that all footballers need to know. Now, before I go into this, I do want to note that Mikel Arteta is doing an incredible job at Arsenal. Despite what has happened in the last few weeks, Arsenal are unrecognisable to the mental fragility that they've had for maybe as much as 5 years or more. But here is what has happened this season. To begin with, it was all about dopamine. Dopamine is a chemical in your brain that gives you drive and determination. It gives you more focus on what you want to achieve. It also allows you to perform to your best levels. It even helps you to feel less pain. Now, what causes an abundance of dopamine to be released in your brain is when you have an objective that you're excited about. And the more amazing it is, and the more imminent the reward is, the more dopamine that you release. Now that you know this, let's rewind back to the very end of last season. Man City looking to win the Premier League. It is a huge reward, and it is a matter of games away. Excitement, desire, all of this releasing lots of dopamine in the players, driving them on to ultimately winning the Premier League last season. But then, starting a new campaign this season, from the very beginning, it is a long slog ahead of them. It is natural that the human brain just doesn't produce the same amount of dopamine after what they had a few months previously. So, dopamine is now down in the Man City players. Performance and results suffer simply because they don't have the abundance of chemicals in their body and their brain to perform to their best levels. Now, you could say it's the same for all teams. They all start on 0 points with a long season ahead. But now let's look at Arsenal. They start brilliantly and they're on top. All of this is fresh and new. They haven't had a drop of dopamine after winning the league like Man City. Their experience is simply that they're on top and they're flying, and it is absolutely exhilarating. The excitement and desire to keep performing brilliantly and keep receiving those brilliant plaudits is driving an abundance of dopamine. They're looking just one way: forward to what they can achieve, to who they can beat, and just how brilliant they can be. Belief and drive are huge within the team. But then there is a change. For Man City, the season is no longer a 38-game marathon. Now it's 15 games, 12 games, 10 games. That objective is getting more real for them. It's more imminent, and the draw is becoming stronger. Dopamine levels start to increase within them. Natural levels of motivation, drive, and their ability to push harder and stronger becomes easier and more instinctive. Performances seem to just improve overnight, and now they start to get those unstoppable levels once again. What about Arsenal now? They probably think that the prize is just as strong for them. However, that huge excitement of simply being on top has something added to the equation. They need to stay there to win the league, rather than their focus being on the excitement and their drive of winning the Premier League title. This is now giving way to the natural way that our brain works. We have what I call red brain bias. Our brains will naturally want to focus on the negatives, the potential issues, the problems. It is an inbuilt survival mechanism in our brains. It is the natural way that they operate. Excitement and drive now give way to worry and fear. Rather than the prize, there is now more focus on whether they can stay on top. A worry that Man City are playing brilliantly and they're catching them. Worry starts to come in from all angles, belief then starts to drop. Not only does this kill that abundance of brilliant dopamine, but they're now giving control to a part of the brain that will absolutely destroy performance. Passing, shooting, decision making all seems to be non-existent, and forget that amazing automatic and instinctive game that they were playing earlier in the season. As again, this simply will not happen with this red brain control. Add in the drop to dopamine and other chemicals, and even fatigue now starts to increase as the natural pain relief of these chemicals is gone. So the discomfort of fatigue plays more on the players' minds as well. And when all this happens, self-doubt, becomes even stronger. Negative thinking happens even more regularly, and this only gives more and more red brain control and makes the issues even worse. Now, players, managers, and clubs in similar situations could be forgiven for this happening. After all, we're not born with a user guide to this brain of ours. But on the flip side, this is 2023 now. We know the huge impact on performance that the brain has. Every club should be investing in helping players condition themselves to focusing on the right things, keeping that red brain at bay, and producing an abundance of chemicals in the brain that fuels consistent high levels of performance. Now, if you found this interesting, I would love it if you could share this with your teammates. Thank you.